Chapter 12. Delusions of Grandeur.
Will you succumb to his witchcraft with your eyes open? These are merely medleys of muddled dreams.
Allah's house was tainted with the lingering effects of the satanic verses, so Muhammad needed a new Qibla, a new direction to go, a new object to exploit. He needed to replace the Kaaba with a more credible shrine. So the wannabe prophet conjured up one of the most preposterous lies ever uttered in the name of religion. He said that he was flown on a winged steed to the temple in Jerusalem. There he was welcomed triumphantly by all the former scriptural big shots. They were there waiting for him, assembled in a solemn conclave of prophet solidarity. His imagination running wild, Muhammad leapt from the Temple Mount skyward, ascending from one heaven to another, finding himself in the presence of Allah, who promptly dismissed him, demanding that Muslims moon him 50 times a day. Hallucination over, Muhammad awoke the following morning in the house of his late uncle Talib. The vision still dancing vividly before his eyes, he cried out to his niece,
Hani, during the night I prayed in the temple of Jerusalem.
She begged him not to expose such frivolity to the Quraysh, but he persisted anyway.
Abu Talib's daughter, said, The apostle went on no journey except while he was in my house. He slept in my home that night after he prayed the final night prayer. A little before dawn he woke us, saying, I went to Jerusalem. He got up to go out, and I grabbed hold of his robe and laid bare his belly. I pleaded, O Muhammad, do not tell the people about this, for they will know you are lying and will mock you. He said, By Allah, I will tell them. I told a negress slave of mine, Follow him and listen.
As the story spread, Muhammad's fledgling cadre of followers abandoned him. The disillusionment was confirmed by Katib al-Wackidi.
Upon hearing this, many became renegades who had prayed and joined Islam.
The Surah says,
Ishaq. Many Muslims gave up their faith. Some went to Abu Bakr and said, What do you think of your friend now? He alleges that he went to Jerusalem last night and prayed there and came back to Mecca. Bakr said that they were lying about the apostle. But they told him that he was in the mosque at this very moment, telling the Quraysh about it. Bakr said, If he says so, then it must be true. I believe him. That is more extraordinary than his story at which you boggle. Then Allah sent down a Koran Surah concerning those who left Islam for this reason. We made the vision which we showed you only a test for men. We put them in fear, but it only adds to their heinous error.
This became Quran 13:33. Once again, Muhammad flips out, and it's everybody else's fault but his own. And while it's not surprising anymore, the 13th Surah was handed down in Medina, not Mecca. What's surprising is that the
Thunder
Surah actually rebukes Muhammad's claim of a miraculous journey, after saying,
Quran 13, verse 5, Those who deny will wear collars and chains, yokes of servitude, tying their hands to their necks, and they will be the inmates of hell. They will witness our many exemplary punishments. Verily, your Lord is severe in retribution.
We are told that Muhammad was unable to perform a miracle.
Quran 13:7. The unbelievers say, Why was no sign or miracle sent down to him by his Lord? But you are only the bearer of bad news, of warnings.
The admission is repeated.
Verse 27. The unbelievers say, How is it that no sign miracle was sent down to him by his Lord? Say, God leads whoever he wills astray.
There were deceptions, but there were no miracles. The Islamic God was not only powerless, he was schizophrenic.
Quran 13:30. They do not believe in Ar-Rahman. Tell them, He is my Lord. There is no other Ilah but He. In Him I have placed my trust.
The Dark Lord says to those who are mocking his prophet.
Quran 13:32. Many an apostle they have mocked before you, but I seized them. How awful was my punishment then! The unbelievers plot, but for them is torment in this life and a far more severe torture in hell.
Then the spirit of the Quran brags,
He sends thunderbolts and smites whom he pleases.
Imagine worshipping a god this nasty. Suggesting that he wasn't always impotent, Ar-Rahman boasts,
Quran 13:38. It was not for any apostle to come up with a miracle or sign unless it was granted by our permission.
But he was capricious and forgetful.
For every age there is a book revealed. Ar-Rahman abrogates, blocks out, or confirms whatever he wants.
And we'd better watch out.
Quran 13:41. Do they not see us advancing from all sides into the land of disbelievers, reducing its borders by giving it to believers in war victories? When Allah dooms, there is none who can postpone his doom. Surely they devised their plots, but we are the best schemers.
But his con didn't fool very many.
Quran 13:43. Yet the disbelievers say, You are not a messenger. Tell them, this scripture is sufficient witness between me and you.
Now that we know that there were no miracles, and that these troubled words are the lone witness to the validity of Muhammad's claims, let's try to make sense of his fictitious journey. As always, it will be difficult to tell where the Prophet's imagination subsided and that of the Muslim sages began. For example, when questioned by the Quraysh, we are told that the angelless and miracleless messenger convinced his spirit friend to erect a model of Jerusalem in their midst. As further evidence of the night's journey, Muhammad said that while whizzing over a caravan, the noise of his flying steed frightened a camel to death. Upon returning to Mecca, someone is said to have confirmed that a camel had indeed been anxious. It served as proof. The only other Quranic mention of the flight of fancy is found in the 17th Surah. It opens with,
Glory to him who carried away his votary by night from the sacred mosque at Mecca to the farther temple, the environs which we have blessed, that we might show him some of our signs. Verily, he hears and sees.
The 6-year-old Aisha, who married the 50-year-old Prophet within days of Khadijah's death, said,
Ishaq, the Prophet's body remained where it was. Allah removed his spirit at night.
And that there was no way to see Jerusalem at night in the 7th century, the cover of darkness must have suited Islam's demonic spirit. Aisha further indicted her husband's tale with,
Bukhari, once the Prophet was bewitched, so that he began to imagine that he had done a thing which, in fact, he had not done.
Finishing the job, she said,
Whoever claimed that Muhammad saw his Lord is committing a great fault, for he only saw Gabriel.
While Aisha's criticism is incriminating, there was a bigger problem. There was no temple in Jerusalem. 6 centuries before al-Buraq took flight, the Romans destroyed it. By 70 A.D., not one stone stood upon another, and that would make both the Islamic God and his Prophet liars.
Bukhari, O Allah's Apostle, which mosque was first built on the surface of the earth? He said, The Mosque Haram in Mecca. Which was built next? He replied, The Mosque of Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. What was the period of construction between the two? He said, 40 years.
No matter how one goes about interpreting these facts and fantasies, Muhammad lied. If the Kaaba was built by Allah, it was several billion years old. If by Adam, then the year was 4000 BC. If by Abraham, it was 2000 BC. If historical evidence is our guide, the year was around 500 AD. The Temple of Solomon was built in 967 BC, precisely 1,000 years before Christ's crucifixion and resurrection in 33. The Dome of the Rock was raised on the foundations of the Roman Temple of Jupiter in 691 AD. As for the mosque, Al-Aqsa was constructed over a Roman basilica on the southern end of the Temple Mount many centuries later. Muhammad got the order wrong, as well as the gap separating them.